Yeah, recording started. Please go ahead.
Hi everyone. Today we are discussing about our project, which is named as RentalGo Rental Management System, and our group name is Warriors, and the team members are Amrita, Kiran, Pawan, Akanksha, Manikanta, Rupa. Now, the main abstract of our project is the nature on how things are done in this 21st century is easier when compared to the previous technologies and previous generations. So right now with this project, we are using the latest technologies and in an efficient manner. So which means we are ensuring that developers build system that meets user expectations in effective, dependable and efficient manner. Current development tools are also being offered, and we are using a technology behind containerization and which is called a Docker, which simplifies and makes development straightforward. And with this development in this project, we are using AWS services, which is one of the easiest services that can be used in any project without any hassle. So our project, which is RentalGo system, makes use of the contemporary technology. This platform's primary method of operation is the online rental of various tools for the payment. In order to solve the problem having the own equipment to utilize it occasionally, this platform has been created. It is also cost efficient, which means it is not that expensive using other technologies and tools. Can we go on the next slide? Yeah, coming to the introduction, the main purpose of this project is to allow users to rent products that they see online, and the users will also have the option to sell their own products, auction and charge their worth. So for example, if we are taking a camera, if I have a camera and I'm not using it, that's a waste of investment for me. So instead of that, I can go ahead, rent it, and so that the whoever needs that, they can use the camera, they can pay me how many days they want. So that's the main purpose of the whole thing. They can pay it depending on the length of the time that they use. And additionally, there are rules and regulations that must be adhered when they are using this kind of service. Any user can utilize his or her own account to rent out their own belongings and profit from the unused items. So the project's main idea is like pretty straightforward. If you have items that others would want to borrow, they have to get them online. They can find a user and then they could pay for it. The next slide, please. All right. Now coming to the objectives. The rental management system is a software or a program that is used to track on inventory that is rented out to the people. And like any other online website where we sign in, create an account, select a product, put it in the cart, put in the payment method and proceed to checkout. It's the same way here as well. So the user has to create an account and add their payment details or add the account details. They have to see what product that they want. They have to put it in the cart. They have to add the payment method and they have to go to checkout. The main requirement of these projects are, next slide, please. So all we need is an operating system, which is Linux or Windows or Mac, any operating system that they wish. We need a Docker desktop that needs to be installed, and we need a RAM of 4 GB, internet browser, and AWS account. Now any project or any software or any hardware that we use, they have pros and cons, nothing but disadvantages and advantages. So our project does have advantages, and the main advantages that we are using AWS, where EC2 instances are required. Apart from that, nothing. And it builds a lot more faster with Django web framework. We are also using a Docker, which is also an easy setup, and it has a fast deployment, and we do have fully control over the system deployment environment. And the main disadvantage, I would say, is we need a technical expert here. It has limited features, and admins need to add product categories to the products, and AWS is kind of expensive when compared to any other platform. That's all from me. Thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Amrita, and I'm going to explain the system design of our project. So this is a basic block diagram of our application. So when a user approaches our website, application captures the basic details of the user through a registration or the login process. And once his profile is created, he goes through all the product details, and he views all the items and adds the selected items in his cart. And based upon the items in this cart, the application start calculating it and creates an order confirmation. And the next slide. So these are the basic features of our application, as I've told you earlier. So we have a sign up and a login and the menu. And after this, we have the catalog browsing. In this, we'll have the list of the categories and the product list. And after that, the product browsing, we have the product reviews and related products. Um, and the shopping cart and the checkout, and it gives the automatically generated bills. And can you go to the next slide? Yeah, this is a basic pseudocode of our project. It takes all the basic details of the user through the email address and the password. Next. So it asks all the basic details of the user, like the first name, the last name, address, and the postal code, the city, date of birth, etc. The next slide. So we have used Docker for the application. And so as we have everyone knows, Docker is a containerization solution that allows the containers to be quickly and easily created. It can be used on the Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and is used to enable in the both development and production. So Docker platform allows the user to package up all the application and deliver them to the cloud without any dependencies. So if anyone want to begin creating any cloud-based applications, then we can go for the Docker for a strong understanding, and it has a lot of benefits. So this platform is a great way to create any isolated environments and automatically scale up them up or down. So the next slide. So as I've told you earlier, Docker has a lot of benefits. So we have started using the Docker for our application. It has a flexible resource sharing, scalability is more, and it has a compatibility and less maintainability. And there is a rapid development in the Docker. So for the better security, less access needed to work with the code running inside the containers and a few software dependencies. We have started using the Docker, and the security wise is also very good. Next. So these are the basic elements of our system. We have the inventory listing management. So in this, we just check the addition of the new inventory and the listing of the existing inventory. And then we have the user login and registration. So application just takes up the basic details of the user. And next is a add to cart or checkout feature. So once the user selects these items, he just adds the items in his cart. And the admin dashboard. Next slide. So these are the basic system functions of our application. From the user point of view, the user has the registration and the login functionalities. And next, we have the inventory and the listing of the existing inventories. And in the cart, we just add the items in the cart, and the processing of the cart items is done in this section. And next, the order confirmations are done in the orders unit. Next, in the admin dashboard, he has the addition of the who are the new users and staff users, etc. All these details are present in this admin dashboard.
Hello everyone. Current steps involved in our project are development, integration and testing, implementation and evaluation. Now I'm gonna discuss about development. Next slide, please. Here Python, Django web framework and system interface are used. So what is Django web framework? Django is an MVT web framework that is used to build web applications, and it is an fully featured structured language which is written in Python. Django is designed in such a way that encourages developers to develop websites fast, clean, and with practical design. So next slide, please. Docker containerization. Docker is the containerization platform that is used to package your application and all its dependencies together in the form of containers to make sure that your application works seamlessly in any environment, which can be developed or tested or in production. Docker is a tool designed to make it easier to create, deploy, and run applications. Software development lifecycle approach. We decided to develop Rentalgo system using the Agile method as opposed to other development methods. This also ensured that we delivered the Agile structures are, next slide please. Meet and plan. The planning encompasses all aspects of project and product management. This typically includes resource allocation, capacity planning, project scheduling, cost estimation, and provisioning. Design. This is the next stage of development. Based on the customer requirements and the detailed analysis you carried out, you can now design the software. Coming to coding, every feature designed earlier needs to be changed into code and all components have to be implemented. And coming to testing, once the software is complete and it is deployed in the testing environment, now the testing team starts the functionality of the entire system. This is done to verify the entire application works according to the customer requirement. Now coming to the deployment, an application is released once the testing is completed, which makes available to the users. Coming to maintenance, after the deployment of the product on the production environment, maintenance of the product, that is, if any issue comes up and needs to be fixed or any enhancement is to be done by the developers. Now, Python interpreter. Source code is converted into bytecode through compiler, and then it is converted into virtual machine. Then this virtual machine gives the result. Next slide, please. Python's code interpretation explanation. Unlike other programming languages, Python is usually interpreted instead of compiled. To execute a Python file, we use a .py extension and write a script into it. Next, open the terminal and type Python file name .py. Next slide. Here is the code which we have done. This is related to admin.py, and this is a app.py. Yeah, and this is the code we have done. Models view.py. This is related to shop, and this is the admin.py. Next slide. App.py, forms.py, models.py, url.py. This is related to the shop category. This is the HTML file which we have done. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Rupa. Today I'm going to discuss on the web framework related to our project, that is the Django. Using the Django web framework, the process of the development as the Python framework comes with the batteries includes. It has been implemented within the framework, and it is easy to integrate the Django with other Python dependencies. This is because Django itself is entirely written using the Python code. And the next slide is the testing, integration testing and the unit testing related to the Rentalgo management system. So this system was containerized using the Docker, which is made up, which is much easier to spin up the project on any computer system, regardless of the nature of the already existing dependencies within the system. Using the Docker, which is a great advantage as it contains the packages of the system in an isolated container, which specifies the dependencies are containerized alongside with the source code. And next slide is with the continuation of the integration testing for the management rental management system. This system was also implemented using the Python followed by the Django framework, as it was easy to set up and much faster to implement. During the deployment, we opted to use an Amazon EC2 instance with a combination of Git and a bit of instance configurations. This project also uses the SQL database, which comes readily available and directly supported by the Django, and it is the default during the setup. And the next slide deals with the test analysis report related to the whatever the testings and whatever the implementation which have been done for the project. So here to test our project, we have a Django. We need to log into the Django administrative setup. So once we log into the system, we will be seeing the default dashboard of the our framework. So it contains the different sections like account section, authentication and authorization section, orders, shipments, followed by the sites. And the next slide deals with the in the default dashboard, we see the categories like what are the categories which have been added to our site. So we have been added the automobiles category, computing category, electronic categories, and fashion categories. And if you want to add any categories, we need to click on the add button of the category, and we need to name the category. So what is the name we want to give for the category, and what is the plug we want to give. So by this, the overall whatever the categories which you are going to add, so we can see under the category list. In the same way, if you want to add any products, so in the default admin dashboard, we have an option of products button. So there we have an option of add products. So we need to provide the information related to the products, whatever the product name we want to provide. We can give the product followed by the what is the product price we want to provide. We can give the price of the product. And also if you have any images, we can provide the image of that product as well. So on save, the list of all the products will be stored in the product section. In the same way, if you want to order any of the product, so we need to click on the add order button, and we need to provide all the necessary information for the like first name, last name, email address, postal code, city, and whatever the information which is required during the ordering of the product. We need to provide all the information related to the during the order confirmation, and we need to order it. So by this, once the order has been confirmed, we can see in the Django dashboard of the order section, we will see whatever the product has been added, under which name it has been added. So overall contact information related to the product have been stored in the order section. So these are few of the screenshots related to the PHP Python files and the front-end HTML files which have been implemented during our project. Like we have the screenshot like shop related files like admin.py files, API app.py files, URL files related to these are related to the main app files. In the same way, we have couple of HTML codes related to the home page, followed by shop, cart, and product section files as well. So these are all related to the HTML files related to the respective sections. And next will be contained by one of my team member, Manikanta. Over to Manikanta.
Yeah, thank you, Pawan. Our project name is RentalGo Rental Management System. As my team member said, we used a Python programming language to develop our project application project, and Docker tool to develop our project. So in this, I did Python using Python language. Using Visual Studio, I did some .py files code, and I run some codes using this Python programming language. I did cart payments and orders using Python language. Go to next slide, Pawan, please. Yeah, Python code interpretation. For this project, we used Python programming language for executing, creating a file name the .py extension and write code into it. Next, open a terminal and type Python file name.py. This Python could have implemented the code for card payments and order. Go to next slide, please, Pawan. Yeah, these are all related to card related .py files. This also card related py file. Go to next slide, Pawan. Next slide. This is related to payments, orders. Next, this is related to payments. Go to next slide. Next slide. Yeah, next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah. Docker containerization. We use Docker tool to develop this application. Docker is the containerization platform that is used to package your application. Docker is a tool designed to make it easier to create, deploy, and replicate applications by using containers. Below, these are screenshots for Docker file and Docker compose.yml. Go to next slide, Pawan. Yeah, this screenshot related to Docker file. Next slide. Yeah, this screenshot related to Docker compose.yml. Yeah, thank you so much. Next, my team member Kiran Kumar will continue the next slides.
Thank you, Manikanta, and good afternoon all. From here, I will be continuing. Like after implementing the code in the Python language and editing it in the Visual Studios, and apart from we have used the Visual Studio to edit the code and deploy, as it is the easiest platform for using the Python language, and it's running because using the Docker one. And it is a rich program that supports many aspects of the software development. The Visual Studio is creative launchpad that can use to edit, debug, and build the code. And to publish any app or application, Visual Studio would be very easy application for that. Go to the next slide. Yeah, and here we have implemented the HTML codes. Here I have implemented the HTML, the front end code for the URLs, where the settings code of our application and the URLs, what has to be updated for the apps and everything, which we have configured here. And the next slide. And this is the code for the settings. And next slide, Pawan. And here the code for the URLs, where whatever the URLs we have been used for updating the codes. I mean, for the product things and for the images, we have used that one. And here is the HTML code to display the login page and other forms in the RenderGo. As it is a front-end code, here we have given some specific information regarding how the main page has to be displayed when when any user has opened our website. The next slide. Yeah, this gives the displays the login page. And for the implementation of our project, it is important that we have to have an Amazon EC2 instance. For that, we have created an EC2 instance and clone our repository into that. And we have created some security groups and other instances, which would be easy for us to run the application. And here we have also installed the Docker application, where it is called, which as used as a containerization. Why? Because in order to run our application, we also needed a container, which is very helpful, and it is very important to open our website. The next slide. Yeah, here I have created the new instances for the for our application. And the next slide. Yeah, and here we have updated our security groups, like giving the only our IP address and then changing it to the user IP addresses, so that there would be no problem in opening any of the menu items or any of the other things in our website. Next slide. Yeah, this is the running project of an EC2 instance, where it gives overall information about our instances, what all are running, and the IP addresses and everything. Yeah, and this also gives the detailed information about our instances. And in order to install and run the Docker, we have to first install our Ubuntu desktop. And here we have installed I have installed the Ubuntu desktop, and in this we have ran the Docker thing with that where the container has to be sync with the EC2 instance. And after that, and after the like syncing the Docker instances with the EC2 instances, then this live page would be opening in the web browser, where here we can see like the RenderGo, the list of entries, something like comic book, tent, and other things. It depends upon us to what all things has to be added. And here is how we have set up the Docker to the EC2 instance. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, once the Docker desktop has been installed in our system, it's gonna look in this way. And once we run the Docker Compose app command in our Linux machines, and it's our project would get syncing up with the Docker instance, with the Docker desktop. And this is the main page how the our application would be visible when someone opens our system. And here we can see there is a renting management service. Here basically any user can search for the required items for them. Here we have made it easy for each and every person that they would be reading the only particular item for a certain period of time. Instead of buying it, we can rent it. So this website, our application would be a very easiest platform for each and everyone who can rent the requirement things for the certain period of time and at the low cost. Yeah, the project summary is like we have set it up the EC2 instance and opening the port of the 8000, which is the URL from which our application can be opened by using any browser, and cloning our project to the GitHub into the EC2 instance and installing the Docker and connecting it to the EC2 instance and building a project with the installed Docker configurations where this could be helpful to opening our application. And the next slide. Yeah, and coming to the evaluation and the future work, as of now, we are implemented this application for the renting purpose of the products, which can be added by the only admins and it can be used by the users. And the future work, when we're coming to this, the users can get the recommendations on what to rent and what all the things has been added, and they can able to log in and registration using the social media applications, as many of the applications nowadays can be easily logged in with our Gmails and the Facebook, and we have also created that one and implemented into this. And the having reports of the user profile, how much they have got, renting out the property, messaging between the client and the personal leasing the items, and in the future work, we can also give an opportunity for the any user to lease some other products for the certain period of time, which could be very helpful. Yeah. Coming to an end, this is the application which we have created, which gives an overall view that we can add the things into our web page, and the user can rent it for the certain period of time for the very low amount of cost. Thank you, team. Thank you.